Mother-in-law wants to have my child taken away due to me being abused as a child. I am not op. And NBSP. Posted by Survivor Throwaway ABC in his second account. Survivor Throwaway ABD. TW. Mention of SAW. Less than. And NBSP. Original 5 February 2016. My mother-in-law and I have not always seen eye to eye on how to raise my son. My wife and I have been united on how to raise our kid. But she knows best. The sub raised by narcissists would fit her well. Anyways, it started 2 weeks ago when she was at our house watching our son while the wife and I went out for dinner and a movie. Mill found a book that I have been reading about childhood sex abuse and how to recover from it. I was sexually abused as a child by a daycare worker and I have been seeing a therapist about it. And she has been wonderful in helping me. Up to this point only 4 people know this has happened to me. My wife, mother, therapist, and my best friend. Now my Mill knows and has been telling everyone on her side of the family to keep me away from their kids. Some of the family members have stated that they do not want us around anymore. Others have reached out or called us in support. It ended up being the ones we liked supported us and the ones we did not like did not support us, so no love lost there. The past week has also been a legal nightmare because the Mill also called CPS to report that I might be abusing my son since I was abused myself. CPS has visited my house asking to come in. I have told them no, they cannot come in my house without a warrant and to come back when they had one. I called a lawyer that deals with this. My mom had his number from 20 years ago story to follow. Since then CPS has knocked on the doors of my neighbors and asked about how I was treating my son. I know this because I work from home and could see her going door to door, and one of the neighbors asked what was going on and why were they asking. I have very little faith in CPS as a teacher thought my dad was abusing me when I was younger and called them into school to do an interview. I had a black eye from wrestling practice. The CPS worker asked if my dad was abusing me and I just started crying. She took that as an admission of guilt that I was being abused. What I could not tell them because I was crying was that my dad had died 3 weeks earlier. But luckily the principal was in the room and was able to tell her that there is no way he could have done that as he is dead. The focus then shifted to my mother. It was a long week. But we got through it and were cleared as the coach and the person that gave me the black eye had given statements. My wife and I now want to exclude the Mill from ever seeing our son again as she has breached our trust. I do not have a lot of money to pay this lawyer for a drawn-out battle with CPS. Is there a way to legally say my Mill cannot and will not have access to our son if we are living or dead? Side note question. What are the odds of a prosecutor taking on a case that happened such a long time ago, 20+ years, but within the statute of limitations in Ohio? What I have read is not really promising. Thank you in advance for your help. And NBSP. Update the 6th of March 2016. I forgot my password to the first account. I wanted to give an update for everyone going into the weekend. This is a good update. My lawyer and I spoke to the CPS representative and provided all of my son's medical records and showed every time he went to the doctor. Urgent care. ECT. CPS also did a walk through the house with the lawyer present and overall the visit went real well. The agent found a few small places for improvement but nothing that was of concern. About 2 weeks after the visit, 1 week ago, I got another visit from the same CPS agent saying that more accusations have been made against me and my wife this time and that they have to investigate again. I asked if the accuser was my Mill and they could not confirm who made the accusation. But my wife called her mother and she did confirm that it was her mother that made the call again. My wife was on the phone with my Mill while the CPS agent was in the house. I had my wife put her on speakerphone so the CPS agent could hear both sides of the conversation. My wife then asked, "Why are you making false statements to the police and CPS?" My mill response was that since I molested as a child, I was 100% going to do it to my son and she wants to protect him. My wife then asked a very pointed question of, "So you lied to the police and to CPS to further your agenda against my husband?" The mill response was, "Yes, I lied. But it was for child's name safety." At that point the CPS agent had heard enough, filled out some forms and left. My wife and I were beyond mad about how brazen the mill has been acting. I ended up getting a call from the CPS agent and she told me that she had relayed the details of the conversation to my local police department since the mill had called them to make a report. She said to speak to Detective Bob, not his real name. I reached out to Detective Bob and sat down with him, my wife and lawyer. We ended up filing a report about the false accusations. The good thing in my city is that the police take a no-nonsense approach to false accusations and will go after people that do make them. The police did interview my mill and she did admit to making false statements and lying to police about. She now has been charged with falsifying a police report and making one other charge that I forget at the moment, but she has been charged. A side note, Detective Bob was very supportive of me when he found out that the reason why my mill was making the reports was due to me being molested as a child. He provided phone numbers for help and even brought in a counselor if I needed to talk to one. I was very surprised of how he treated me with respect throughout the whole process. My wife and I have also sat down with an estate lawyer and completely written her out of our life, and stated that she is to not have custody of our son. We listed other family members to take care of our son if we both die, and the other members have agreed to do this. We have also decided to file a small claims court case against the mill for lawyer fees that we had to pay to cover ourselves. The lawyer did agree to keep the fees to the max for small claims in Ohio. TLDR. Mill was caught lying to police and charged. Cut Mill out of our life for good. CPS cleared us of any neglect. Thank you everyone for your help and support. This was a good update. That compassionless mill can rot in hell. Oop never deserved to be put through this. He told 4 people he was close and comfortable with, and Mill told everyone she could. Mill is a monster, but at least she was caught her in lies. I'd also consider filing a slander lawsuit against Just No Mill since she has also spread this falsehood. Who's to say she wouldn't start going after his livelihood too? It's scary how many stories there are about absolutely evil moms and grandmas. I dated a guy who had experience with SAW as a child. The idea that anyone I brought into his life could have treated him this way makes me feel ill. I always wonder at the sheer absurdity of people's behavior that I read here. This hurts my heart. Pause of a mill. Oh God. I can't even imagine what poor Oop must have gone through. To have his personal nightmare dragged out and spread around for everyone to gossip over. Kudos to him for not putting his mill through the wood chopper. Victims of childhood sexual abuse are less likely to abuse a child sexually than non-victims. It's almost as if they know how it feels, so they don't want anyone else to experience. And she basically just re-victimized him. What a gem. If I could go back in time and advise everyone I knew back then, it would be this. When you get married, you are not marrying one person. You are marrying an entire family. If the future in-laws are a nightmare, your life will also become a nightmare. Understand that before you get seriously involved with someone, and understand the risks if you wish to proceed. It is crazy how common this is. There is a surprisingly large number of meddling, abusive, narcissistic people out there. And they have kids. And those kids meet people and become couples just like anyone else. There is a special place in hell for people who weaponize CPS. This is utterly sad. Oop is a victim and Mill has villainized Oop for being so, and so have re-traumatized them. It's uplifting to see OOP's wife in their corner. This could have gone wrong so quickly had the CPS and police not done due diligence. I'm glad that was halfway solved for Oop. Seriously, the police and the courts is go to drag Mill really hard though the mud and shish tea due to those false reports she made. And she can't lie or run due to it, and anyone trying to defend or try to help her illegal, like lying as well, is going to be in the same boat if they try to pull something to get her out of it. So she can't do nothing but accept the consequences. CPS is so overburdened in every city I've lived in. What did OOP's Mill say to get them to go after Oop so thoroughly? My justice boner is raging good that Mill getting the only legal repercussions and losing everything related to her grandchild, Ren. She was willing to destroy the lives of her daughter and son-in-law, Oop, over lies she made based on past of son-in-law that trying to move on and protect his son from harm. Which is ironic now Oop and wife winded up being the hero he needed to prevent an abusive adult from hurting his kid. I hope that got a restraining order. What a horrible monster of a woman. I'm so glad that the police and CPS actually did their jobs at the end. But Oop should not have had to go through any of that. Both the initial trauma and when it was brought up without his consent. I'm so glad this ended the way it did. What a horrible, compassionless woman.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.